go over briefly of where this idea of trust law kind of came from. We I know it came even before 1302, but I want to go into how these trusts that was set up by the Roman Catholic Church or the Vatican have something to do and how we operate throughout commercial law, admiralty law, and how all of that plays in effect today. So I'm going to go kind of a brief, make a summary of it to kind of, see how all of these trusts applies today, and how you can, enforce this, right? So when it comes to the first trust that was set up in 1302, the Unum Sanctum, in 1302, Pope Boniface VIII issued papal bull Unum Sanctum, declaring that for any souls to be saved, they must be subject to the Roman pontiff. Let that sink in. This document has been interpreted by legal theorists as the creation of the first global trust. The Kes, I'm pronouncing it wrong, the Kes Trust or Act, which the church presumptively claimed ownership of every human soul. Let that sink in, y'all. Anyone not actively rebutting this presumption was considered lost at sea, legally dead and held in a trust by the church. Let that sink in. Let that sink in, y'all. Please. In modern times, this is like your identity being placed into a holding account the moment you're born, unless you step forward and reclaim it. That's why when you're born, a birth certificate is issued and a legal person is created in your name. But that is not you, the living being. That is rest, or another word is property, or another word is subject matter of the trust. Bam. Trust number 2. Romanus Pontifex, 1455. So fast forward all the way to 1455, Pope Nicholas V issued Romanus Pontifex, granting Portugal and other Christians monarchies dominion over newly discovered lands. This effectively placed all real estate and natural resources under the control of the Vatican through its appointed kings. Wow. In legal interpretation, this created the second trust, claiming ownership over all land globally. You don't own your land, y'all. You don't own your land. If you have a deed, you don't own it. Unless you have this one title, and I'm going to go over that later. And today, that legacy is still alive today. Why do you think you never truly own your land? Even if your house is paid off, you pay property taxes forever, and the state can seize it for failure to pay it. Even if you pay $200,000 for your land, you don't own it, okay? That is because you hold a fee simple deed. The word is fee simple deed. That's what you're renting the land, okay? Which is merely the right to use the land, not the anecdotal title. I'm pronouncing it wrong, excuse me. That title remains in trust, presumed and to be managed by the state as trustee for the higher authority. Now, trust number 3. In 1481, Pope Sixtus IV issued Anterni Regis, which reaffirms earlier grant and extended papal control into the realm of commerce and labor. This third trust claiming ownership of your body and energy, your ability to labor, trade, and produce value. Think about it. Every time you clock into work, you sign a contract or engage in commerce. It is all tied to your all caps name, the legal fiction, not the legal you. The social security number, tax filings, driver's license, even court cases all operate through the artificial corporate vessel that was created for you, okay? Not by you. It wasn't created for you, okay? Under this trust, you are the collateral. for the national debt. And your labor is monetized without your awareness. Unless you rebut the presumptions, you remain the surety for the debt and performance of that corporate fiction. Wow. Wow. So just going back into some real world examples, breaking down each trust and how they apply today, y'all. And this is deep. This is not me making up. This is literally just this is it. Okay. It's not me making something up. Okay. The Kester V Trust, right? A 1302, the Unum Sanctum, right? Where the claim is all souls are property under the church. And they use Matthew 16 to 18 to make this claim. Okay. All souls are property of the church. People are presumed lost at sea spiritually. They done did that. They did a thing on us. Okay. So for example, with your birth certificates being a legal fiction, you so when you're born, your parents unknowingly they register you with the state. A birth certificate is created, which becomes the foundation for the legal person, an artificial entity with your all caps name. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, if you're in this space, y'all know what's going on, okay? The legal person is res, which is RES, which means property or subject matter, right? Of the trust, okay? You don't own this name. The state acts as the trustee. That's why you have a birth certificate. The same way you're acting, the same way you have a certificate of a vehicle, the state owns it. You know, they're just managing on behalf of it. That's why the court doesn't call you the living, it calls you your name. Your social security number is tied to this trust. If you're lost at sea, legally dead, and not rebutting it, the system continues to act upon you as property held in the spiritual trust. Now, going into the second trust, Romanus Pontifex, right? The claim is they all land and natural resources belong to the Holy See. And when I looked up the word Holy See, it connected to the Roman Catholic Church, okay? Roman Catholic Church, okay? Here's the thing. You never really truly own your land, right? Even if you buy a house, you pay 100%. You still have to pay the property tax, as I stated before. This is a direct legacy of the Romanus Pontifex, where land ownership was granted only to those under the church's permission. Today, you cannot opt out of land taxation. You cannot obtain true sovereign title to your land. You are presumed to be a tenant, not a true owner. So, in effect, all real estate is held in a global trust, y'all, okay? A global trust and the state, which is your county or city, wherever you at. They're acting as a trustee, managing the property for the benefits of higher authorities. You're just leasing your existence unless you rebut the trust structure. Now, going to the example of the attorney regis, I could be pronouncing it wrong, regis. That's the third trust that was constructed in 1481, right? So your labor is collateralized through your social security number. You are required to get a social security number to work when you get a job, when you fill out a W-4, which contracts your labor to the IRS and federal government. Your labor is converted into tax revenue, which is used to back U.S. bonds and debt instruments. Your name, your social security number, and earning potential are tied to a CUSIP number, meaning you are securitized and traded on the financial markets. You pay income tax even though no law explicitly requires it for a natural person. In court, the judge can only recognize the corporate name, not the living man or woman. Your energy and body are treated as economic instruments unless you declare otherwise. So, you are presumed to be the trustee and the debtor, while the system uses your labor and value as collateral to fund itself. Unless you claim your party status, you continue to act as a surety for someone else's debt. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I will be putting all of the trusts that we're under right now, and they're using Matthew chapter 16, verse 18, because this verse was not rebutted. Look it up. Look it up, guys. This is deep. This is why we dealing with all this commercial law and admiralty law. It comes from the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? Remember who we're dealing with. Okay? Remember what we're dealing with.